I'm Dave Lockren. That is Adam Shaw, Share, and Alex Baker. One day I'll get it right, like consistently. And we've got a 15 gamer for you on this wonderful Tuesday, August 27th. Keep in mind, by the way, after the show, stay right here. Josh Engelman, Jake Harry, going to take you up to lock, 7:05 Eastern time on this exact same page for Live Before Lock. But we get underway, boys. Before we do, how are we this afternoon?
Doing good. This is probably, it feels like one of the more complex slates we've had in a while, so I think it should be fun to talk about.
How about you, Alex? How you feeling?
Pretty good, man. This is a great day for fantasy sports. 15 games of MLB and 5 games of WNBA, so it's going to be really hard to try to figure out what to watch tonight.
No question. And by the way, check out all of our draft content yesterday. We did our Awesemo Celebrity Charity League. Alex Baker, of course, participant. I was in that. Not much of a celebrity, but we've got Evan Silva, Christopher Harris, Lisa Ann, JJ Zachariason, Pat Mayo, our boy Manny Laura, and a lot of other people. A nice, good purpose. Winner's money goes to charity and a whole lot more, and bragging rights. We did a live draft show, a post-draft recap show with Alex, myself, and Chris Harris was gracious enough to join us. It was a whole lot of fun. Right, Alex? We'd love everyone to check out our season-long post-draft content.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun and also some pain, but we're working through it here.
Yeah, we came out on all's well that ends well, right? All right, let's hop into it. Alex, Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. Yeah, I tell you what, the Drew Smiley love, it's understandable because of the price point, but I was honestly surprised earlier to see during the strategy show that Josh and I did this morning. I was surprised to see that Drew Smiley was on DraftKings getting more ownership than Adrian Hauser. And it's still the case, not by much, but it's still the case going up against a pretty low strikeout team in a bad park against the Pittsburgh Pirates. But I guess sometimes all it comes down to is being dirt cheap.
Absolutely. And I think more people drive Honda Civics than drive Ferraris. And that's the case of what we're going to see tonight. Drew Smiley, he's a Honda Civic. He's 4,600 on DraftKings. I think no one really projects him to do that well, but sometimes it's all about fitting your roster into the salary constraints. So I think he's probably one of the top plays tonight, despite being in a spot against a team that's really tough to K.
Feels good, right, Adam? Top pitcher, Drew Smiley.
Yeah, it doesn't feel great. I think he's a good point per dollar play, obviously, especially on DraftKings at 4,600. He's okay on Yahoo at $30 too. But I'm a little surprised by how highly some spots have him projected. I don't think it's a spot where he should be expected to score a lot of raw points. I think it's more that he's 4,600. But while Pittsburgh isn't the best offense against left-handed pitching, there's virtually no strikeouts in this lineup either.
I know.
Excluding the pitcher, the highest strikeout percentage against left-handed pitching since 2017 is Colin Moran at about 23%. Behind him, you have Reynolds, Marte, and Bell at between 20 and 21%. And then everyone else is below 20%. Smiley walks a lot of guys. He gives up a ton of home runs. And it's a favorable park for hitters. I just don't see, outside of the price tag, I don't see why he is projecting as an actually good play here.
Yeah, it's got to just be the price. We see it so often though, right? Not just with Drew Smiley specifically recently, but we've seen it with a lot of these pitchers where they're just really, really, like, for example, Adam, I mentioned Hauser at the top of the show. Like, I can understand why people would like Hauser today for a number of reasons.
Yeah, and so do I. But what it comes down to for me is, especially on DraftKings, there's like 6 or 7 pitchers within like $500 to $1,000 either direction of Drew Smiley, and Smiley's getting almost all of the ownership. I don't really think that should be the case. I don't think his range of outcomes is that much different than like any of those other pitchers.
No, go ahead, Alex.
I got one more thing to add. Apparently, my brand is talking about pitcher strikeout numbers when they're at bat. And Steven Brault doesn't have the highest K rate on this Pittsburgh lineup. He's at 19.6% over the past 2 seasons, which is like that. Usually you're expecting a guy to K like twice as much in that spot. So that makes it even a worse lineup to play pitcher against.
Yeah. Now that you mentioned that, I actually remember watching one of his starts and they talked about how he loves hitting.
Well, let me ask you this then. Wait, no, Steven Brault, wasn't he with Milwaukee before?
No.
Orioles
and then Pirates.
All right, never mind. I was thinking of someone that could hit home runs. Apparently not Steven Brault. Then Adam, if you think
Gallardo?
What?
Yasmani Gallardo? Or Giovanni Gallardo, whatever his name was.
No, I think I would know the difference in sound of that name. What about Pittsburgh bats then? I mean, it's obviously not the most impressive baseball team, but you've got Marte, Bell, the middle of the lineup's reasonably interesting. If you're as low as Smiley as you are, Adam, what are your thoughts on the bats here? We can start with Pittsburgh, and then Alex, I'll go to you.
I'm not getting to a ton. I think that it makes sense in large field tournaments from like a game theory perspective, just because it is a good home run park and Smiley's getting so much ownership. But the problem I have is that they're not really cheap and they're not really good. And there's a lot of really good hitting spots on this slate. With there being 15 games, there's just a lot of spots that ownership can only go to so many different offenses. And so there's just going to be a lot of low-owned teams that I like more than Pittsburgh. I think it's going to be what makes it difficult for me.
Wow, Antonio Brown just told Ben Roethlisberger, "We are never friends. Just had to get my ends. Shut up already." he's losing it, man. Wow. In other news, DeMarcus Cousins threatened to put a bullet in his ex-girlfriend's head. So
yeah, just saw that.
Yeah. Oh, you didn't hear about that? Yeah, because she wouldn't let their son go to his wedding. It's been a busy Tuesday for sure. What are your thoughts on hitters, Alex? Both sides of this one, Philly and Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh, I noticed they're priced up a lot. I mean, I guess it makes sense if all 3 sites are really down on Drew Smiley. And one thing, actually, going back to the earlier point, I think the site's pricing can be interpreted as a projection also. So, like DraftKings pricing him at 4,600 is projecting him to do really poorly tonight, like much more poorly than any of the projection sites, including our own. But that correlation is pretty strong usually between salary and production. This might be an exception, but the batter prices are in line with that. I mean, they're expensive, and the team total of 5 isn't really going to make any waves on a big slate. But I do like on the other side, the Philly lineup. Rhys Hoskins is leading off. He's dirt cheap on DraftKings and Yahoo. Yahoo cash play for sure. And Real Muto at second is in the order is a good DraftKings play.
I will just point one thing out. I try to hit on this when I can. The Philadelphia bullpen has just been decimated by injuries all season long. It's a bad bullpen, and we've seen them absolutely deteriorate over the last couple of months. So if you were looking to pick on Drew Smiley and get some Pittsburgh bats, once he gets knocked out, it's not like you have an elite bullpen crew coming in to clean up. You got a pretty bad one. So it's worth keeping in mind that it just once your starter goes out, you're not necessarily in a whole lot of trouble after that. Philly allowing 1.65 home runs per 9 this year, 3rd most in baseball at the relief position. All right. Adam, did you quickly want to talk about Philly bats before we move on?
Yeah, I think they're pretty solid values. Like Alex said, it's a good hitter's park. Real Muto is pretty cheap. So is Rhys Hoskins. So is Segura. So I think Philly's a good stack. I also wanted to point out Brault, though, as a tournament pivot to Smiley on DraftKings. He's 4,800. Smiley's 4,600. Right now we have Smiley at 28% ownership, and we have Brault nowhere near that. I think that Smiley projects better, but I think the range of outcomes is really, really close. And so in large field tournaments, going to Brault, taking some of Smiley's ownership and shifting it to Brault, I think makes sense.
Okay. Washington and Baltimore, Adam, Patrick Corbin, Aaron Brooks. He's had serious issues with home runs this year. I guess we can start with Corbin. I don't know how much time we'll need to spend on pitching. The reason being, when I look at who's available today. Like Corbin on a lot of slates would be a very solid option, but it just feels very hard to prioritize him over guys like Castillo or Verlander or Walker Buehler. What are you doing with him?
It is tough for me to get there. I wrote about him in the deep dive article because I think it's an appealing spot against the Orioles, but he's just priced up in a group of guys who are even better pitchers than he is. Some of them have favorable matchups, some don't, but it's also not a slate where I love paying up for pitching because there are so many good bats that I want. So it's just been really difficult for me to get to Corbin.
What about you, Alex?
Yeah, he's priced like he's Sonny Gray or something. That's crazy. Well, I think that Baltimore.
He was.
Well, he got like a pretty good result. I mean, it didn't win anyone tournaments, but and I think that's what's going to happen again today. Maybe just a kind of good outcome, but not for the price. And Baltimore's lineup, I mean, especially interleague, is going to look pretty bad, but they're actually a little bit tougher to K than you might expect. I have them about average, especially with Hanser Alberto leading off. He rarely strikes out. So I think that the run prevention is going to be great, but I don't anticipate elite strikeouts here.
Yeah, neither do I. What about Washington bats, though, Alex? Seems like a pretty favorable spot here against Brooks.
Yeah, I like Washington a lot. I think that, Brooks is nothing to get scared of, and they have a team total of about 6. The prices are reasonable on DraftKings and FanDuel, a little bit outrageous on Yahoo. And I think the ownership is going to be siphoned away to other teams in even better spots like the Red Sox and Coors. So I could definitely see myself gravitating towards a team like the Nationals tonight.
Yeah, Adam, you like the Nats?
Yeah, I do. Aaron Brooks has had a couple of decent starts recently, but I think we have a long enough track record to know that he's not a great pitcher. The Nats have just a really dangerous offense. They have a lot of guys that put the ball in play, but also have power. They're running out a pretty favorable lineup here. You have Matt Adams in there, who I like on all sites, but who was really, really underpriced on FanDuel. Asdrubal Cabrera is a solid value as well. And then you get really good hitters in Rendon and Soto. You get Trey Turner, who is basically guaranteed to have low ownership because he plays the same position at the same price range as Xander Bogaerts and Trevor Story and Coors. So I think it's a really appealing spot in tournaments.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Do you have any – it feels hard to have any interest, even like speculative tournament interest in Baltimore bats, but I'll ask you because that's what I do.
I think there's actually some decent value there because while Corbin is a really good pitcher, he does give up power. He's allowed a 180 expected ISO to righties this year. 9% of balls in play against Corbin have been barreled. And you have some pretty cheap pricing with Hanser Alberto at 3,500, Mancini at 4K, a 3K catcher in Severino. Nunez is 3,900. They're not high probability plays, but I think that they do give you some upside for the price.
Do you have any interest, Alex?
I think you can make a nice mini stack if you really need to get a cheap 3 players in there.
Okay. Toronto and Atlanta. We'll stick with you, Alex. Mike Soroka. Do we have confirmation that it is Godley? We do have confirmation now, right?
It doesn't really matter to me because of how bad Godley has been this year. It sucks because he used to be like a good fantasy player, like K's in the mid-20s, but now he's at 17% for the season. And the matchup versus Atlanta is not something that's really favorable. So I think he's totally out of play tonight.
For sure. I meant more so for Atlanta bats, but
my bad.
No, we're good. I believe though, because if you remember, I don't know, I wasn't here last week, but I think it was 2 weeks ago when it said like Godley could be the guy, and we didn't know who it was going to be. But I think today it will actually be Zach Godley behind Wilmer Font. But I don't know, Alex. It seems like pitching in this entire game is off limits because, and maybe you have a different opinion, but how do you get to Mike Soroka when there are so many better high upside? He's a good real life pitcher, but for fantasy purposes, can he really get you where you need to go on a 15-game slate?
I think he could at the right price, but tonight we have the wrong price. I mean, he's not a high strikeout guy, and he's priced like he is. So I think that I'm going to avoid him today. What
about you, Adam?
Yeah, same boat. I think the only spot that I could really make an argument for him would be Yahoo, where he's, I believe, $38. He's good at preventing runs, but that just doesn't really get you where you want to be in DFS when he's expensive. It's an okay matchup, but his strikeout numbers are much better against righties than lefties, and Toronto's running 6 lefties out there tonight. So I just don't really see getting to Soroka.
Do you have any interest in hitters anywhere in this one?
I have interest in Atlanta. I think that they're just a team that probably falls through the cracks on the slate with there being the gaming cores and just so many other good offenses. So I think getting to them some in tournaments makes sense.
Adam, Alex?
I think I would agree, except our ownership on Atlanta is actually really high. And I mean, it could change between now and an hour before lock, so I'll reserve judgment. But the values are very nice for these players. I think a lot of it was due to the uncertainty of like who's actually pitching today. They're priced like they're playing against someone that's good, and they're really cheap. So I think people are going to have them a lot in tournaments with some more expensive pitchers tonight.
Okay. Can we move on from this one, or do we want to tackle anything else?
That's it for me.
All right. Well, then, Adam, we got Spencer Turnbull, Adam Plutko. Turnbull really hasn't been bad. He's just been okay this season. Hasn't allowed a lot of power. Plutko, on the other hand, isn't good, isn't terrible. You know, he's your typical like back of the rotation type guy. Just cover this game as a whole because it feels like we could get to Cleveland and we could talk about them, but I think if I said this to Josh today, if I saw Cleveland in the winning lineups today in tournaments, I wouldn't be surprised. But I also just don't know how I get there based on some of the depth at the other positions. But you can speak to all of that.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much where I'm at, too. I think that overall this is just a pretty unappealing game. Cleveland's a good offense, but Turnbull's not terrible. He is worse against lefties than righties, which is good for Cleveland. But there are just so many good offensive spots on this slate that I'm not sure Turnbull's a guy I really want to attack all that much. And then on the other side, Detroit obviously is just absolutely awful at the plate. And Adam Plutko is not good. So I think that, you know, if you have to get a cheap hitter, you could look to like Castro batting second, especially on FanDuel, but not really looking to attack either offense, but not really looking at either pitcher either.
What about you, Alex?
I think Cleveland's a good play tonight. They're not going to – on DraftKings, I think they are a little bit cheaper. So I especially noticed Yasiel Puig is getting some ownership, but still a really good play. I mean, they have a lot of power in the offense, and I think that's going to give you the GPP upside you need. And they're going to go under the radar because there are so many great options tonight. So I think I'm going to have Cleveland a fair amount. Detroit I'll have because I'm a homer, but I don't think they have much DFS value.
Okay. I don't know if you're serious or not.
Like I support my Detroit guys.
Are you a Detroit guy?
Yeah.
Have you never read his bio on Awesemo.com?
I have. Where he went to school for mathematics and is a self-proclaimed history buff. Come on now.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
I read your bio on the DraftKings contenders. That's pretty.
Oh yeah, that was a good one. Were you born and raised in Detroit?
In Ann Arbor.
Okay. When did you move to Chicago?
Just a couple of years ago. So I was out there for most of my life.
All right. Now everyone knows a little bit more about Alex Baker. Beautiful thing. Do we want to cover anything else here?
I don't. So I mean, Plutko 6,500 on DraftKings is okay. If we didn't have like 8 pitchers below 6K that are viable, I would have more interest. But as it is, it's kind of like he's overpriced relative to the slate, given how bad he is.
Would you rather play Adam Plutko or Mike Leake?
Mike Leake.
Okay. I mean, I don't disagree.
I don't feel good saying that, but
I would hope you don't.
Yeah.
I mean,
if they were both 6,500, probably Plutko.
Yeah, or if they were both like 52, where Leake. If Plutko was around the same price as Hauser and Leake and Smiley, you could argue that he'd be probably the chalkiest pitcher on 2 pitcher sites, right?
Yep.
So, yeah, I don't think it's crazy, but you're right. You probably don't need to get up there based on some of the other cheap pitchers. The thing is, he's got one of the best matchups, so there is that. All right, Alex, let's talk about a good pitcher. 2 of them, as a matter of fact, Luis Castillo and Caleb Smith. Castillo on the road in one of the best pitcher parks around, facing the Miami Marlins, team that ranks dead last in WOBA, ISO, WRC plus, top 5 in strikeout rate versus righties. I'm getting tired of saying that, but it must be said. It is a price point on Castillo on DraftKings specifically that surprised me a little bit, to be honest. And I feel like based on where, Giolito is priced and Corbin is priced, I thought he'd be more. And then on Yahoo, basically the same price as Giolito, Corbin, Walker Buehler, and all of those guys. So what are your thoughts on Castillo here?
I think he's a good play. I mean, he's a great pitcher. 3.5 xFIP on the year, 29% K is really kind of becoming the ace that people were hoping. And when he's facing Miami, one of the worst offenses in the league, and with a lineup that's especially like bad today, I think that he's got to be a top play. The only thing stopping me from giving like a full-hearted recommendation is that he is pretty expensive, and paying up for bats today is certainly something I'm going to be looking to do with so many good spots.
What about you, Adam?
Yeah, that's exactly what I would say too. It was really hard to write the deep dive today because there's like all these pitchers at the top that I really want to gush over and write about how good they are. And then basically I'm closing it out with like, I probably won't really roster them that much though. And that's kind of what it comes down to. Do I think Castillo is going to have a really good game? Yeah, most likely. Do I think that getting 25 to 30 points from a $10,000 pitcher is super useful on this slate? Probably not. So like I'm happy to get whatever Castillo I can. I think he'll probably be my highest owned out of the expensive pitchers, but he's still just not one of my highest owned pitchers because I'm doing a lot of just rotating through cheap arms.
I know when Josh did a dummy crunch today on the strategy show, he was getting a lot of, he's actually getting some Smiley Hauser combos.
Yep.
Hauser, Pineda, Hauser, Tanaka, just based on, some of the batting, hitting options that we have tonight. You're seeing some of the same for yourself?
Yeah, like if I look at the DraftKings crunch that I did right before the show, Smiley right now came in at like 20%. But if I click on to see who he's paired with, like I have him paired with Castillo, but then I also have him paired with Leak, with Hauser, with Brault, with Michaelis. So it's just a lot of prioritizing bats.
So how much Castillo do you have in an initial crunch?
13% on DraftKings.
All right. And before running crunches, you would probably think you'd have more than 13 against Miami at 10K.
Yeah, I mean, I think that if you made like the entire sub 6K range on DraftKings, if you just added like $1,000 to all those guys, I'd have more Castillo. But the way that it is on that site in particular, there's just so many cheap arms. A couple of them probably are going to do well. So I think that that's the best roster instruction.
Okay. Alex, do you have any interest in Caleb Smith tonight against Cincinnati?
Yeah, I definitely do. On all three sites, I think that the price is reasonable. He's a 29% K guy. Cincinnati, their lineup today strikes out a hair above average. They're in a good pitcher's park in Miami. And I think he fits in a little bit easier than Castillo into lineups, especially on FanDuel, where at 8,400, he might be a good value on tonight's slate. I do expect him to only go about 5 innings, especially, playing in a game where he could get pinch hit for if he's close to that 90 to 100 pitch mark in the fifth. My expectations aren't that he's going to go out and crush, but I think he's pretty good value for the money.
All right. Do you have any interest in hitters here?
I actually see some good values. I see Eugenio Suarez is well priced on DraftKings. On FanDuel and Yahoo, Nick Senzel is leading off, and he's super cheap. And these aren't guys that are going to blow your socks off, but they could be good one-offs in a tournament.
Adam?
Yeah, Suarez in particular. Smith does give up some power to righties, but it's downplayed because of this park. But you have pretty decent pricing on him. And as far as Smith goes, I didn't mention him in the article today because I didn't think I was going to get to him just because I do have concerns about how deep he's going to go into the game. But with crunching lineups, I am getting to more than I expected. Not getting to the 26% that we have him projected to be owned at, but just getting more than I thought I would earlier today.
Okay. We move on to the Mets and to the Chicago Cubs. Adam, Yu Darvish, Marcus Stroman. Darvish has seen his price come up pretty dramatically recently. He's had some good starts. He's also had 2 games of his last 3 where he's allowed 3 or more home runs. 4 home runs to the Giants last time out, and 3 starts back. He coughed up 3 long balls to the Reds. He has been good this season. There's no question, at least from a strikeout standpoint, from upside standpoint. He's also had some serious homer problems as well. He gets a good park, though, at Citi Field. I think the big and a pretty neutral matchup with the Mets. I think the big thing here, though, is like, what are you willing to pay for Yu Darvish?
It's real tough for me to get to him here. I buy into him being better now than he was earlier in the season. I think he's completely fixed whatever walk issues he was having, but he is still struggling with power, like you said. And this Mets lineup just really doesn't strike out a lot. And you're not getting any sort of a discount on Darvish. So on this slate where I'm not really inclined to pay up for pitching anyway, it's really tough for me to get there. So I'm not getting the Darvish.
Are you getting the Darvish, Alex?
Oh, no, I think that he's someone that is a little bit more expensive than some other pitchers like more, like Caleb Smith. And the matchup isn't great for strikeouts. The Mets recently added Joe Panic to the lineup. He's a guy that strikes out less than 10%. And that makes me think that this is not an amazing spot for him to rack up fantasy numbers.
Do you have any interest? Well, I can't imagine you're playing Marcus Stroman either.
He's on my radar, especially on Yahoo. He's in play at 32. I think the matchup versus the Cubs is favorable for strikeouts, even though they're a tough team. And he's been decent on the year. But definitely it makes a lot more sense probably on DraftKings FanDuel to go to a cheaper guy, given there's so many good options.
Adam, are you targeting Stroman at all?
Just Yahoo for me. When you look at the guys priced around him on Yahoo, he's a lot more appealing. When he's less expensive than Mike Montgomery, he's barely more expensive than Smiley. He just fits in. He's one of the best pitchers in his price range. Whereas on DraftKings, there's just so many pitchers that are cheaper.
Okay, hitting in this game doesn't seem all that appealing. I mentioned the power issues with Darvish. Maybe you could make an argument for a Mets bat or two, but Adam, do you have any? Is there any real intrigue here from either side of the hitting game?
If this game were canceled, I don't think it would affect my slate whatsoever.
All right. Well, you heard him, Alex. Do you feel the same way?
I like the Cubs stack on DraftKings, and the Mets stack on FanDuel is kind of like deep sleepers, just because the ownership is going to be so low. I mean, we're projecting Castellanos for 0.2%, Bryant for 0.9%. Top 25 player in baseball at 0.9%. Can't go wrong.
All right. Well, we got 6 in the books here. It's a good time for me to tell you that you can get 50% off your first month subscription at Awesemo Plus. Awesemo Plus at awesemo.com. Use the sign-up code DEEPERDIVE when you do it. Get 50% off your first month. It includes ownership projections, player projections, Awesemo's top stack tool. You can get the Fantasy Cruncher add-on, of course. All of our premium articles are included. So much more. The lineup builder. What else do we have? Lineup study is also available. MLB Data Central. I could just go on and on with all the content that we have. And also a ton of free content as well. Seasonal NFL stuff, free MLB articles. We're going to have some free DFS articles as well, specifically some showdown stuff that our boy EMAC puts out, and a whole lot more. So even if you're not ready to sign up yet, head on over, create a free account at awesemo.com and see everything we've got in front of the paywall. But if you do want to, use the sign-up code DEEPERDIVE, get 50% off your first month. All right. St. Louis and Milwaukee. Alex, Adrian Hauser, Miles Michaelis. Like I said, I was surprised that Hauser didn't have like the highest ownership on these 2 pitcher sites, but he doesn't. It's right up there. Don't get me wrong. It's pretty high, but he's got a reasonable enough matchup, but he also, for his price, offers a lot more strikeout upside than you would find for guys that are usually all the way down at the bottom of the pitcher pool.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that maybe it was reasonable to have some concerns when he moved from bullpen to being a starter that his Ks would go down, but that didn't materialize into reality because he struck out 24% as a starter versus maybe 26%, so it's averaged out over the season at 25%. He's much more expensive on FanDuel and Yahoo at 7,539, so he's not really on my radar there. But on DraftKings at 5K, I like him a lot. The St. Louis lineup, it has most of the guys are about average in Ks, so it looks like a decent matchup for 5K, and their team total is less than 5. So I'm going to be loading up on Hauser on DraftKings today.
Okay. Adam, are you loading up on Adrian Hauser as well?
Yeah, DraftKings specifically, but I just think he's the best pitcher in this price tier, and I don't think it's really that close. Has a good strikeout percentage, gets a lot of ground balls, better than average Sierra. Not the best matchup against the Cardinals, but the price tag more than makes up for that. So, he is expected to be really popular, and I think my game plan overall will be to just mix and match cheap pitchers, but I still really like Hauser because I think he's just better than everyone around them.
What are your thoughts on Miles Mikolas against the Brewers here at Miller Park? Oh, and by the way, I should point out, it's pretty insane that despite this game taking place in a very hitter-friendly park, the Cardinals opened at like 4.1 runs. They are at 4.5 now, but for a 5K pitcher that's not that high, Milwaukee's at 5.1. Go ahead, Adam.
Yeah, Mikolas is someone who I'm more interested in now than I was earlier today because, for one, we only have him projected for 5% ownership on DraftKings, and he's 5,800. But also, Mike Moustakas not in the lineup for Milwaukee takes one of their really good left-handed bats out. You still have 5 lefties in there, including Grisham, Grandal, Yelich at the top, and Thames batting 5th. But the fifth lefty, Spangenberg, isn't great. Orlando Arcia is not a great bat. He gets to face a pitcher, and he's just cheap at low ownership. So if his ownership projection comes up between now and lock, I think that I'll lose him pretty quickly. But right now, if he's going to be 5% owned, I think I'll be overweight.
Okay. Alex, any hitters here?
I think that Trent Grisham for the millionth slate is a good value. I mean, this guy who's leading off, he hits for power and he steals bases. He's 3,300 on DraftKings, 2,600 on FanDuel, and 14 on Yahoo. Not the most amazing matchup in the world versus Mikolas, but he's just super underpriced for his skill set.
Adam, bats?
Agree on Grisham. I think that all the lefties in this lineup are interesting in tournaments. Mikolas does give up power to lefties, doesn't strike out a lot of guys, and you certainly have power with Grisham, Grandal, Yelich, Thames all hitting in the top 5. I'm not sure how much Milwaukee I'll get to, but I do think that they're viable just because of how much power they have.
All right. Let's keep it going then. Where do you think, by the way, Alex, where do you think Hauser will come in for you in terms of the pitcher hierarchy today? One of your highest owned, your highest owned? What do you think?
I think he'll be my highest owned on DraftKings. I mean, don't quote me and pull up lineup study afterwards, please. But the double whammy is that he's a great value, and the better strategy in tournaments is to pick cheap pitchers. And I think that's going to land me on a ton of them, despite the popularity.
Yeah, you're going to have 1% less of Hauser than your highest owned pitcher and get hell for it. I'm waiting for it.
Someone pitch Sampson.
Yeah. Chicago White Sox, Minnesota, Lucas Giolito, Michael Pineda, Alex Giolito. He hit a rough patch earlier in the season, but he has since turned it around and has looked really, really solid in the month of August. That said, he's very expensive. He's nearly as expensive as Verlander on DraftKings. He's going to cost you a lot pretty much everywhere. And even if he isn't the same cost as Verlander, you'd be paying the same as Castillo and Buehler and such. And as both of you guys already pointed out, it's already tough to pay for high-end options, even the ones we love. So is Giolito completely off the board for you today in a tough matchup with Minnesota, or are you willing to give him a look?
I think that he's been probably a second-tier pitcher in baseball this year, 32% Ks. And the matchup versus Minnesota is the main concern here. I mean, that's a team. They have sick power across the lineup. They strike out like just about average. And I just don't see much reason to go to a pitcher with that matchup, whether it's Giolito or Drew Smyly. It doesn't. Oh, I guess that's a bad comparison because, I mean, sorry, I don't mean that I'm not on Drew Smyly. That's what I'm saying. But Giolito tonight, I'm definitely not on.
Okay, Adam, what about pitching on both sides?
Yeah, not really on pitching here. Getting to that mid-range just isn't something that I really think I'm going to be getting to with Pineda. I'd rather go with 2 cheap pitchers or with a better pitcher and a cheap pitcher. And then Giolito, obviously is really good. He is capable of dominating this lineup, but it's still a really, really tough matchup. There's plenty of expensive pitchers that I like more, so I'm not getting there.
Okay. Do you have any interest? Actually, let me ask you first, Alex. Do you have any interest in Michael Pineda?
He's on the fringe of playable on DraftKings, but definitely not a preferred option. So the advantage is the White Sox strike out a decent amount with their lineup, but he hasn't been a great strikeout pitcher this year, and the price at 7,800 isn't really favorable for spending down a pitcher. So I probably won't land on him, but if he fits your roster, by all means, put him in.
Okay. What about hitters, Alex?
They're kind of uninspiring for me as far as value. On DraftKings, both teams are particularly expensive for the spot. On FanDuel, it looks like there's some value on White Sox team. And on Yahoo, it looks like the bottom of the order for Minnesota is super cheap, so I can see it there. But I think it's an interesting sleeper play with Minnesota because they do have a tough matchup, but a really good team. And if they can get past Giolito at the start of the game, then they could definitely have the best performance of the night.
Okay. Adam, looking at bats in this game, Giolito, even if we're not playing him, or Pineda, both of them have been solid options. Is that taking you away from bats on either side?
Yeah, it's pretty tough to get there. Minnesota's got some pretty decent pricing considering how good they are, but I just think Giolito is really good, and so I'm not getting to them a whole lot.
Okay. Houston, Tampa Bay, Justin Verlander, Charlie Morton. Verlander gets ownership every week, Adam, because he's really good. It's not crazy ownership today, but he's always going to get some attention. He's going to always draw some appeal, and the reason for that is it feels like 30 fantasy points or more is just par for the course when it comes to Verlander. Difficult to get to him today, though, especially you look on Yahoo, even if you did want to pay up. He's $11 more expensive than the next closest pitcher. He's 12.3 on FanDuel, 12,000 flat on DraftKings. It's a really tough spot to get to if you wanted to pay for all those really expensive hitters today, even with a Hauser or a Smyly in your lineup. I'm not saying it isn't doable, but I have trouble imagining you'd come up with like 30 or 40% Verlander today.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like I'm upset with getting Verlander in the lineups, but if you just kind of think through the slate holistically, what does Verlander have to do with this price tag to be someone that you have to have in your tournament lineup? And the answer is basically put up a monster game while a lot of pitchers have bad games, because there's a lot of viable cheap options. There's a lot of less expensive top options that aren't as good as Verlander, but that have comparable ceilings. So it's just a really, really narrow range of things that need to happen for Verlander to be a must-own to win a tournament, whereas it's really easy to figure out how he hurts your chances of winning, and it's just that some other pitcher that's cheaper has a monster game out of all of them. So it's just really, really tough for me to get to Verlander, especially knowing that he'll have some ownership just because he is Justin Verlander.
Do you have any interest in him, Alex? Obviously we know how good he is, but just in terms of practicality for Justin Verlander?
No, I don't think I'd even have interest if I like some cheap stacks. He's at one of the highest price points we've seen for a pitcher this year at all 3 sites. And he's a great pitcher, but this matchup versus the Rays is not ideal. They don't strike out as much as average. I mean, they got average power. They have about 10% more bases than average. So I think that it's not reasonable to expect Verlander to just go through a cruise, and the price is so high. I just don't see any reason I would line there.
And Charlie Morton, I can't see any reason to go there either, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the matchup's super difficult for getting strikeouts. There's actually a sports bet I like tonight. I saw some strikeout props of 6.5, I believe. I have let's see, I have them for only 5.5. So I think this lineup is just they strike out about 75% of the average. So I would avoid them in every lineup.
Yeah, Adam, I'm not even going to ask you about Morton. I know you're not playing him.
Yeah, he's better than his salary on Yahoo at 43, but I still don't really think I'd get to it.
He's better than he gets credit for in most cases, but it's still tough. Can we skip hitters, or is there anybody I've not seen that you guys want to play?
Abraham Toro is 2K flat on DraftKings if you need to do that for some reason.
Okay, yeah, I think Josh mentioned he had one lineup of 150 with Toro in it, so maybe you can get him in there. Alex, anything here, or you want to talk the Royals and Athletics?
I'll talk the next game.
Nice call on those A's bats yesterday, man. They came through in a big way.
Yeah, I mean, I think is the consensus on the show. They were the top stack. So,
Yep.
I mean, if we just pick one stack a day, we're going to hit some of the time. So let's take our victory lap while we can.
Yeah, especially on a 7-game slate, right? It gets harder on a 15-gamer.
Yeah.
Can they do it again today against Mike Montgomery?
I think for me, they're popping up as one of the best options on the slate, even before taking into account ownership, just based on all the value. Chris Davis is a particularly good value at 3,400, 2,307. Cash game lock, in my opinion. And the rest of the lineup has some good value too. They have a 6.2 team total, which is really, really high for them. Montgomery, not a great pitcher. So I think I'll be having a ton of ace again.
Okay. Adam, Oakland, an eruption yesterday. 7 RBIs on 2 hits for Marcus Semien. Things are going well when Chris Davis homers and has a 3-hit game, because that has been a rarity lately.
To be fair, I think he homered off of Humberto Arteaga.
A homer's a homer when it comes to Chris Davis. But no, very valid point you make there. Either way, it was an offensive eruption, and it was also a smaller slate. But today you have them going up against Mike Montgomery, who throughout his career really has never been bad. He's never been great or good either. But I would assume Oakland, a team today that will probably get a decent amount of. Well, oddly enough, they have the second highest top stack potential. Again, you can find that at awesemo.com and their Awesemo's top stack tool. But as far as ownership goes, they are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They are 8th in ownership.
Yeah, I think it's a good spot for Oakland because Montgomery is a pretty average pitcher, and there's obviously just absolute blow-up potential if they can get to him early because of how much the bullpen had to work yesterday and just how not very good the bullpen is anyway. A lot of good or decent value in the lineup. When I did with our previous set of ownership projections, I had tons of Oakland, and then with the most recent set, I just ended up getting way more Boston at the expense of Oakland. So not sure exactly where I'll end up, but I do think it's a high upside spot for the A's. Chris Davis obviously is a really good value, and then other hitters in the lineup like Chapman, Semien, and Kana are really good plays too. I think Montgomery is kind of interesting on DraftKings though at 4K. Like it's an absolutely awful matchup, but he's getting no ownership. He's the absolute minimum, and I think he's the second most talented of the cheap pitchers behind Hauser. So I'm not getting tons, but right now we have him projected for 3%, and I have like 10.
You think he can go out and strike out 12 again?
Probably not, but he does have the thing that interests me is he's always, as a starter since 2017, he's thrown about 200 innings. He has an xFIP just over 4, so he hasn't really been bad. But he, since coming to Kansas City, does have a new cutter that has been pretty good. And over those 7 starts with the Royals, his average chase percentage on pitches out of the zone is about 37.5%, which for context, if you look at qualified starters this year, Jacob deGrom is first at 38.5, Verlander second at 37. So while I obviously don't think Montgomery keeps doing that, it does at least show that he has some pitch that is working well. And the bigger point for me is just that he's the absolute minimum and has no ownership.
Fair enough. I will say this is a very good team against lefties, though.
Yeah, it's an awful matchup.
Yeah. But I hear what you're saying. It's these minimum salary. Do you want to touch on Royal Bats or Fires or anything else here, Alex, before we move on?
I'll probably avoid the Royal Bats. They're quite popular tonight. And, I mean, although I'm not particularly bullish on like Fires, this team is below average in power and getting on base. And their team total of 4.4 is surprisingly low. So I think that is kind of a warning sign for me.
Okay. Oh, hey. Did you know that you're now able to stream live local and national NFL games in the Yahoo Fantasy app for free, regardless of carrier? It's new this year, which is why you probably didn't know, but now you do. And you should certainly check it out once the season gets underway because it's a very cool feature over there at Yahoo. Yahoo Daily Fantasy Sports, sponsor of the Deeper Dive. You can jump into the MLB contest like the $12K $15 entry tonight, or the no management fee contest that you see every morning. It fills up very quickly. Or if you haven't tried it yet, number one, get your $30 free in Yahoo Sports Rewards points, which you can use to play on the site to win real money. Just do so by signing up with us. Go to our homepage at awesomeo.com. Click on the Spotlight Hitters article. It's free. It's also on the homepage. Very easy to find. And the link is right there at the top, Yahoo Daily Fantasy Sports. Click that. Sign up. We got you covered. You get your $30 in Yahoo Sports Rewards points when you deposit. Why do I say that? Well, because the $1 Million Baller is a little more than a week away now. $1 million, $100K to first place, $25 entry, only 10 entry max, no 150. 10 entry max. You also have the $100K, $10 entry, $20K to first guaranteed for week 1 of the NFL season. And if you're just playing a little bit, $25,000, $4K to first, $1 entry. They got a lot that they're rolling out for the first week of the NFL season. And the great thing is this $1 Million Baller, 0% management fee, which means that Yahoo takes nothing of all of the combined $1 million in entry fees. It all comes back into our pockets. So really cool stuff happening over there at week 1. Sign up through us. Remember, it's the Spotlight Hitters article right on the homepage. Click that. You'll see it at the top of the article, the link to sign up. Get your $30 in Yahoo Sports Rewards points. Get them YSRPs. And we'll see you over there. That's Yahoo Daily Fantasy Sports, sponsor of the Deeper Dive. Boston, Colorado, Alex, Rick Porcello, Rico Garcia. Dude, this guy was so bad at AAA this season, and now he's got to come up and face Boston at Coors in his MLB debut. I believe you had a pretty solid tweet about it earlier today. What a brutal spot. Call out sick, fall down the steps, walk through the traffic, do something, but get out of there pitching this game.
I have to agree with you, man. Like, this is one of those games where you expect if there's any situation where someone will start one game in the MLB and then never appear again, this is probably it.
Yeah, I feel like he's just going to throw a gem because like it just has to happen.
I mean, it's a narrative situation. First MLB start, like guys get fired up.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wouldn't. I'm not going to put all my money on Boston, but I think I'm liking them a little bit tonight.
Yeah, just a little bit. I'm with you, man. Adam, I know you had mentioned that you don't have interest in this game. Explain why.
Yeah, I mean, Boston right now, they're popular, and especially.
Oh, are you really going to explain why you don't have interest in this game?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to explain
really
why
popular.
I do.
They're not that good.
Yeah. Rico Garcia is great. He's the next Sonny Gray.
50% Rico.
Yeah. But no, I mean, Boston's getting ownership, but with it being a 15-game slate, it's not tons, and it's not like it's the entire lineup either. You know, you can mix in guys like Brock Holt and Christian Vasquez and Mitch Moreland to get lower ownership. So it's just take advantage of there being 15 games, and your overall lineup can still be pretty low owned, which is why I'm just getting to tons of Boston. Garcia is almost 26 years old. He just got to AAA this year. In 12 starts there, he struck out 17%, allowed 2.11 home runs per 9. nothing. I mean, granted, that's in the PCL, but when you factor in the age and everything else, nothing really looks good for this guy. And then now he's got to face this Red Sox lineup that's really difficult and is actually even easier to stack today than normal because Andrew Benintendi's not in the lineup, so they actually only have 3 outfielders. Everyone kind of moves up a spot because there's no designated hitter, so it's just a really good spot, obviously.
Okay, yeah. What about Adam? Sticking with you. What about Colorado bats too?
I like Colorado, but I'm not getting them nearly as much for a couple of reasons. For one, they have 2 guys out of their 9 hitters that you can't include, one being the pitcher and one being whatever Sam Hilliard is in left field. So that's 2 spots. Then you have Tony Walters at catcher, who's not really doing anything for you. So you're down to a really condensed lineup to try and get into stacks. And Desmond's not any good. McMahon is fine, but he's expensive. Murphy's at a loaded position, so is Arenado. So I'm just not getting to nearly as much Colorado as I am Boston.
Yeah, Adam, dude. Hilliard is 2,700 on DraftKings. Does that change your mind?
Is he?
That's what I have in my spreadsheet.
Oh, you're right. I was seeing that listed. That does make it better, yeah.
I'm really big on this guy Hilliard. He had 296 in the ISO in the minors this year, and now he's 2,700. I mean, if there's any hitter lock, like this has got to be it, in my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll end up getting way more Colorado once I refresh that.
Yeah, I mean, you don't see that very often, and batting 7th in this park. I mean, against Porcello, I don't really worry about the amount of plate appearances he's going to see either. Alex, obviously a cash lock, but I mean, it still feels so easy to get him into pretty much any lineup at that price, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't want to understate this. Like having this guy at 2,700 on DraftKings is going to probably change a lot of my lineups because that extra 2K you're saving on an outfielder, you can get a much better pitcher for that. So
yeah, I was going to ask you, do you see yourself getting to more like Castillo or Bueller or any of those guys up top? Or how do you? I'm not. You have to run your crunches, of course, but how do you see it changing it?
I really I prefer doing 2 teams full stacked, but when you have a guy like this, that really changes it a lot. Especially maybe him going a little bit under-owned compared to his talent level because people just don't know who he is. But this guy, he hits for power, he steals bases, and he's in Coors against a pitcher that's not even that good. And that's someone I'm only got on my way to get in lineups.
Okay. Adam, you think it changes anything for you?
I think it'll probably get me more of Caleb Smith and Luis Castillo.
Okay. By the way, Makad, thank you, sir. He is one of our premium subscribers. Just pointed out in our baseball channel in Slack. Let me refresh this just to make sure that with this latest run of projections, we have Drew Smiley at, there we go, I think 16%, if he's right. Yeah, so look at that, boys. Drew Smiley down to 16%. Like I've been saying this whole time, people must be listening. Now, Adrian Hauser up to 30%. Right now, projected to have the highest ownership, Alex, at the position. And actually, highest ownership overall. Maybe it'll be Hilliard once we run it again, but 30%.
Yeah, I think that just shows the field is pretty sharp. They're recognizing top plays. But the big skill in DFS is being able to discern whether these top plays are worth their ownership or not. And I think that our show, hopefully we're doing a good job of helping you determine that, and also the projections on the website and the top stacks tool.
Cool. Adam, you want to say anything just based on now the recent iteration of these ownership? We got Hauser at 30% on DraftKings specifically, Castillo 26. Then how about this, by the way? Caleb Smith at 24 as the 3rd highest projected pitcher.
Yeah, the biggest thing that I expected to change for me is that I'll probably get a little bit more Drew Smiley because I think that he projects his median projection for me is better than everyone around them except for Adrian Hauser. But it's not so much better that I expected to get tons of him when he was really popular. But if people are backing off, then I think I'll get a little bit more. Hauser at that ownership, I'm still fine with, though. I think that he's still the best option out of that entire group.
Yeah, I agree with you for sure. All right. Just before we move on, I just want to round this out since this Colorado-Boston game is such a big deal. I mean, Alex, Boston has a 20% top stack probability, and they have the highest projected ownership, but it's still way lower than the top stack chances that they have today. What do you think about that? I mean, it's got to play into the decision-making, right, which is one of the reasons you love them so much.
Yeah, I think the bottom line is, like, this is one of the best spots in baseball, and the site's never price guys up enough to account for situations like this.
Right.
The ownership's a little bit deceiving because the top 4 batters in the order have high ownership, and that might be a reason why. Like, maybe you can come up with better lineups, not including Boston. I don't know if they'll be my top lineup necessarily, but I will have a ton of Boston lineups.
Okay. Adam, any final thoughts on this Coors game?
Just to reiterate what Alex had said, include the bottom of the order from Boston. Mix them into your stacks. Use lower-owned secondary stacks. Take advantage of how many different ways you can be contrarian on this slate without having to fade what is, the best spot.
Okay. Sounds good to me. Let's keep it going here. I believe we've got 4 games to go making good time because we're professionals. San Francisco and Arizona. Adam, we've got ourselves on the bump. Jeff Samardzija, the Shark, and Mike Leake, 5,400. Mike Leake very discounted on DraftKings, and to be fair, probably for good reason. Over on another 2-pitcher site, Yahoo, Samardzija coming in at 43. And Mike Leake is weighing in himself at 28, $3 above the minimum. Just to weigh that against other pitchers, Mike Leake, outside of guys like Font and Brooks and Rico Garcia, is the cheapest. And then Smiley's 30, Plutko's 32, Montgomery 33, Hauser's up at 39. So talk to me about where you're at on someone like Mike Leake on DraftKings and on Yahoo, because I would imagine it's pretty similar, but maybe even more interest on Yahoo based on the lack of other very cheap options.
Yeah, I think he's even more appealing on Yahoo because, like you said, you don't have all those really cheap guys down there. Smiley's more expensive. Hauser's not even in the same ballpark in terms of salaries. So he's even more appealing there. But I'm going to be overweight on DraftKings too. He's not a good strikeout pitcher. It's not a great strikeout spot, but it is a good spot for run prevention. He's not the worst at that anyway. He has a 4.66 Sierra this year. His biggest issue has been home runs, but this park will downplay that a lot. And right now we're not getting any ownership on him. So because I'm still expecting to be getting a lot of cheap pitching combos, I think that I'll be overweight on most of these guys, and Leake's no exception.
Okay. Alex, thoughts on Mike Leake across the board?
I think I like him the most on FanDuel, just because he's projected to be my highest value pitcher. I think that it's mostly the park. I mean, FanDuel rewards you a little bit more going deep in games, and Leake, I think he has a chance to go 6 innings and not give up a ton of runs. For 5,700, that's valuable, and he's going to need to do that because the 16% strikeout rate he's sporting on the 2019 season is not really going to get it done unless he gets that quality start.
All right. Any interest in hitters here, Alex?
I think short answer is no.
Okay. Adam?
Nope.
All right. Angels, Texas. Let's get to it. Adam, Mike Minor, Andrew Heaney. Pretty interesting spot for Andrew Heaney. Last start, actually, he came out, mowed down this Rangers team with 14 strikeouts across 8 4-hit, 1-run innings. That run came on a solo shot. Andrew Heaney has definitely shown significant upside this year. He's been up and down at times. When I said it this morning, when batters aren't swinging at that sweeping curve, it can get a little bit out of control because then he throws you something just to get over the plate. And then it gets hammered. But when everything's working, he looks nasty. And the Rangers had the second highest K rate in baseball versus lefties, a 97 WRC plus. They do have power, but they also strike out a ton. Talk to me about Andrew Heaney here.
I think it's a pretty appealing spot, especially if Hunter Pence were to miss this game too. That takes one of their better hitters out of the lineup. The problem that I have is just that on DraftKings and Yahoo, Heaney's not in the same ballpark as guys like Verlander and Buehler, but he's priced pretty close to Luis Castillo, and that makes it tough. But on FanDuel, I think he's – what'd you say?
Very tough. That's like if Castillo wasn't on this slate, Heaney would be one of the guys I really like.
Right, yeah. I mean, he has a 29% strikeout percentage. He's been really good. I think that he's probably most appealing on FanDuel, though, because he's 8,200, and at that salary, you can still get a pretty good, group of bats around him, and you're not sacrificing a ton of strikeout upside either. And then he's also, just a lot cheaper than the other pitchers at the top. So I think that I'll get to a little bit in tournaments, but that it's similar to Smith and Castillo for me.
Yeah, what are your thoughts here, Alex, on this pitching, well, specifically Andrew Heaney?
I think he's going to be a staple of my night slate lineups. Probably the best pitcher on the night slate per dollar. Walker Buehler being probably the highest projected. And on FanDuel, I agree with Adam that he's particularly well priced at 8,200. The matchup is good versus Texas, a team that is below average in most categories. So I like it.
Okay. You're not on Mike Minor here at an elevated price point, right?
No. I think on FanDuel he's reasonable at 8,600, but probably not in my player pool.
Alex, Adam, can I assume the same?
You can.
Okay, good. I know you too well. Let me ask you about hitters, though. Is there anything that stands out to either of you? Adam, you first, then Alex.
For a second, I forgot that I was looking at FanDuel pricing, and I thought Mike Trout was 4,600 on DraftKings. That would have stood out.
Sweet.
Yeah. I still think, Trout and Upton kind of stand out, but I do have a lot of respect for Minor. So neither one's a huge priority for me since I don't anticipate stacking much of the Angels.
Okay. Alex, anything to be said here on the bats from either side?
I think Trout is a really nice one-off on all three sides. Looks like his ownership is pretty reasonable for how good he is. So I'll probably have him.
All right. Yeah, not exactly an egregious take. We've got 2 games to go, and we will burn through these. Keep in mind, though, Jake Hari and Josh Engelman coming up live before lock right after us. Stay right here on the channel. You don't have to go anywhere. While you're at it, hit us with a thumbs up, like the video if you actually do like the video. We wouldn't want you to lie, but we do appreciate your support. And it helps us out a lot. It helps support the site and all of us at awesomeo.com. Subscribe and hit the notification bell as well, so you always know when content's going to drop next. And again, stay right here, live before lock, coming up after we close out these last 2 games and give you our top stacks. Adam, San Diego, LA Dodgers. God, it's going to suck like not having a ton of Buehler in the event that you don't, only because it feels like this could be one of those 15 strikeout games against the Padres, who, unsurprisingly, have the highest K rate in baseball versus righties.
Yeah, I mean, it's scary because Buehler's really good, but I think one thing to keep in mind is that San Diego's actual lineup that they're running out there, or at least that they'll most likely run out there, isn't that good for strikeouts anymore. There's no Fernando Tatis, which obviously makes it a safer matchup, but he was a 30+% K guy. They traded Franmil Reyes. If you go through like their actual projected lineup with Garcia, Naylor, Machado, Hosmer, Renfroe, Margot, Urias, and Hedges, the only guys that strike out an above average percentage of the time are Renfroe and Hedges. So it's not, and the pitcher, but it's just not as great a strikeout.
Don't forget the pitcher. Alex will come.
I figured he would jump in with Cal Quantrill strikeout numbers if I did.
It's only 25%. How's that?
Okay. But yeah, so I mean, it's still a good matchup. Like I think Buehler has a good game, but it's not a great strikeout matchup like their active roster suggests it is.
Do you feel like taking the savings on Castillo makes a lot more sense if we're talking 10K plus guys?
Yeah, I think I'll just get to more Castillo. I'll get to more Smith. I'll probably get more Heaney.
What about Verlander or Buehler?
Not much of either, but a little bit more Verlander.
Okay. Alex, what are your thoughts here on Walker Buehler?
I think that he's a nice price on Yahoo at 51. He'll probably be in some slate lineups, but definitely doesn't stand out. As you mentioned, Castillo, Caleb Smith, and some other guys are better values.
Okay. That's really the only quality pitching option here. But I do want to ask about the Dodger bats, Alex. Cal Quantrill has been hammered by left-handed hitting all year long. As we know, the LA Dodgers are very capable of running out lethal lefty-heavy lineups. We don't have one yet, but you can imagine what it would look like, right? And you've got ownership right now that's coming in at, where are we at? Dodgers ownership 2%. Any interest here at Petco Park against Cal Quantrill, Alex?
I could see myself having some shares as a contrarian play. They're not jumping off the page as far as projection, but there is the talent. The conditions for batting in San Diego this time of year aren't usually that good, so that mitigates my interest a lot compared to some other games.
Okay. Adam, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, getting to some, I think Jack Peterson's a good value, but they just not a great park. Bellinger's really expensive. Obviously, you'd like to get there, but he's expensive. Muncy's expensive. Quantrill has been a bit better since coming back from the minors too. So I don't dislike them as a contrarian play, but they do have sub 5 implied run total on a slate where we have the Rockies and the Red Sox and the Nats. So it's kind of tough.
Okay. Let's talk about this last game here before we head out. Adam, Seattle, New York Yankees, Masahiro, Tanaka, Yusei Kikuchi. Yankees, another team here where it seems like they generally get less ownership on slates like Coors and where there's other popular teams, but they are coming in with the 5th highest collective ownership, and top stack probability is coming in around like 6th or 7th. So pretty much both of them in line with each other. I guess I'll let you touch on Tanaka first, and then we can get into these Yankee hitters.
Tanaka's probably most interesting on Yahoo because he's $35, and as we had said, you don't have all those minimum price pitchers like you do on DraftKings. It's a good strikeout matchup, but the Yankees have just ruined their pitching somehow. Like Happ doesn't get strikeouts anymore. Tanaka doesn't get strikeouts anymore. They managed to make Sonny Gray bad last year, which is a hell of an accomplishment. So it's not. Yeah, I mean, on DraftKings roster construction-wise, I just don't really see getting there. On Yahoo, it's more appealing just because you do have the strikeouts in this lineup, and the park will downplay his home run issues a bit. But don't really love Tanaka. Definitely like Kikuchi even less.
Yeah, what's happened to him, man? They hire the Baltimore Orioles pitching coach? I had to. Alex, what are your thoughts here?
I think that Tanaka's not really – he's kind of well priced on DraftKings, but not top option. I think he has around the same projection for me as Hauser, and he's a lot more expensive. It looks like a bit of a Manny special, but it's hard to overlook the talent of the lineups that the Yankees roll out there. So I can see going for them as a contrarian play.
I kind of have some interest in him, honestly. None of them on DraftKings are above 4,800. So I don't know. It feels like one of those. It doesn't matter what lineup they roll out there. They just seem to hit everyone. And if I were to throw one guy out there before we do our top stacks, I think Urshela, depending on where he bats, I mean, if they get him a little higher in the order against the lefty, he's only $4,200 on DraftKings. Gary Sanchez, $45. Judge, $45. So if there was a day to look at the Yankees, they're not that expensive at all. Okay, Adam, Yankee bats, and then we'll do top stacks.
I think they're obviously really good values. You have 4,500 on Judge, 4,500 on Sanchez, 4,800 for Torres on DraftKings. On Yahoo, they are also inexpensive with the exception of Torres at $24. So probably will get some ownership, but also I think just really good plays. So I'll be getting to them at the very least as one-offs or mini stacks in lineups that are otherwise contrarian.
All right, Alex, what do we got? A couple top stacks for our friends before we head out.
I think that my main strategy will be spending up on bats today. So like Boston, Oakland, and Colorado.
All right, Alex or Adam.
Boston and Washington.
Okay, yeah, Washington's a very interesting one. Yeah, Coors, Washington. I'll throw the Yankees in there. I think there's just too much power to ignore against a homer-prone lefty, regardless of the venue. That'll do it for us. Remember, hit that thumbs up. We appreciate you very much, and we'll see you back here tomorrow, Wednesday's Deeper Dive. But don't go anywhere yet. Jake Harry and Josh Engelman taking you up till 7:05 during Live Before Lock. Good luck tonight, everyone.
Sorry, guys. There go the beats. We are live Tuesday, live before lock. Myself, Jake Hari, ready to break it all down one last time today. I love this slate. It's fun. There's so much pitching talent at the top, and I'm not going to get any of it.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like I keep forgetting Verlander's on the slate. I keep forgetting Giolito is on the slate against the team he just shut down like last week. Yeah, it's definitely weird. Like just seeing some of these names, I get like one share out of 150, but I think the slate kind of calls for it.
Yeah. I'm surprised that Verlander is getting to 16%. I think that might just be his name that's carrying him to that spot, because I can't get even remotely close to that no matter what I try to do. Or at least I couldn't earlier. Sure shit, I'll probably run a crunch at 6:30 and it'll happen. But
right, like who are you playing Verlander with? I don't know. Maybe you're just not stacking. People are just throwing in their cash lineups or something.
Yeah, I have no idea. Let's get the plugs out of the way quick, and then we'll really dive into this pitching. Live before lock. One big word is the promo code. You can get 50% off your first month of Awesemo Plus. So go to awesemo.com/join. Pick any monthly package you want. It can include Fantasy Cruncher. Just use the promo code Live Before Lock when signing up, and you can get 50% off. And we are brought to you during Live Before Lock by FantasyDraft. If you want to get $1,000 in rake-free entries for your first 7 days at FantasyDraft, all you have to do, go to fantasydraft.com, use the promo code Awesemo. $1,000 in rake-free entries. If you normally play $1,000 in a 7-day span, the amount of money that you're going to save by not paying a single cent of rake there is massive compared to playing that same amount of money at a different site. I can't recommend it enough. It's basically just free money back into your pocket. You can't really beat it. Go check it out. FantasyDraft.com, promo code Awesemo. Favorite pitcher on the slate? Go.
Well, I mean, I guess favorite pitcher is probably my highest exposed right now. That's going to be Luis Castillo.
Okay.
It's going to come down to one of Castillo, Hauser, Smiley. Miles Michaelis is way up there.
Finally.
I'm guessing you're on the same page there. Just price thing, right?
Yeah. Castillo is my highest point per dollar guy at the top, and then Buehler is right behind him. And then heading all the way to the bottom. Who knows how much Hauser I get? Certainly north of the 30% number seems likely. And then Smiley as my number 2 at the bottom. I will get to some Michaelis. I was getting to him earlier today. I'm getting Leak as well.
Leak?
Yeah.
Let's see.
I'll probably have a little bit of Brault.
I'm gonna have all these guys. I
have way more at the bottom than I normally do.
Yeah. I just think that's probably the optimal tournament lineup construction tonight. If you're multi-entering, is mixing and matching these cheap guys with an expensive guy, some like Caleb Smith or Castillo, Verlander, if you can figure a way out to do that.
On my dummy crunches, man, I was mixing and matching a lot of these cheap guys together.
Yeah, that's what Laffy was saying. I didn't catch that part of the show, but I'm doing that too. So it's all about the hitters tonight, I think.
Yep. So today will be the day that Verlander, Giolito, Corbin, Buehler, Morton all go for 40. And you're just
Could you imagine if we saw like a Verlander Giolito duo winning a tournament on DraftKings? I would be so mad.
It'll be different. It'll be like a Tigers stack or some really cheap team.
Yeah. Like I'm not spending more than $18K on pitching tonight. I don't think in any lineup.
I would be surprised if I would say that the highest combination I will have would be Walker, Buehler plus
Buehler. Nice.
Maybe someone in that Stroman, Pineda, Tanaka tier. Maybe Caleb Smith, just because it's over 800 lineups, it might pop in.
Are you worried at all? So I'm not getting to Buehler. Are you worried at all about the projected lineup, their K rate?
Not at all.
Fair enough.
I mean, he's still behind Castillo for me, but I like Buehler second. In the 10Ks for me, it's Castillo, Buehler, probably Verlander, then Corbin, Giolito, and then who gives a shit about Morton and Minor?
Yeah, it's like Charlie Morton on the slate, just disregarding him. Verlander, at least for me, basically disregarding him. And like I'd be fine having Verlander especially, but I'd be fine having a bunch of Buehler. But when you're trying to get a bunch of hitters tonight, which I think is the best way to approach it, you're just not going to get some of these guys. So it's really just Castillo for me. I mean, absolutely nothing wrong about the matchup in Miami. We saw Gray struggle a little bit, bounce back. I think he got over 20 DK points.
Yeah, he ended up tolerable.
Yeah. So Castillo, you're looking for something similar here as like if he struggles a little bit here, I think the strikeouts are just so likely to be there that he's probably going to be fine for 10K. Kind of ranks as the best value of these guys. If you look at the projections on the site, and he's just low implied total, just over 3 for Miami right now. Something you don't often see.
No.
Yeah, it's Castillo for me.
So there's one guy we need to talk about that I'm surprised to see owned like he is. Not that he's not talented. What do you make of Caleb Smith being the third most owned pitcher today?
Well, I didn't anticipate that today. But right now he's probably going to be like my 5th or 6th highest owned pitcher.
Okay.
I just thought I wouldn't get to any of him. He does project pretty favorably. Is a good strikeout pitcher. So he's got some things going for him. But a lot of my lineups that I use him in will be him as the SP1 in just lineups I can't get up to Castillo because that $1,000 is going to make a huge difference on DraftKings.
Yeah, this one is the one that I'm most confused by. I didn't expect to see it. Not that I disagree with it. I think that he's a really nice, point per dollar play today.
Mhm.
Alex said something on the show that I thought was interesting, that he only expected him to go for 5 innings. And I think that is actually what's pushing him up here. His out prop today, over 17.5, is minus 160. So that's saying that he's going 6. And if you think that Caleb Smith is going 6 innings, that makes me think that he is owned correctly.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't often get to 7. I'm seeing in a couple spots he has, and he puts up good strikeout numbers per inning. The issue with him is that he's been priced way up lately, and he's not a guy with the Verlander upside, the 8K or the 8 inning 11K
right.
Like he never does that because he's not as efficient as some of these guys. So you're seeing a lot of 5 and 6 innings, which is fine for 9K here, I think.
Yeah.
As an
I had him in for 5.2 this morning, and then I saw that, and I was just like, I clearly need to change this.
Did you bump it up to 6 then?
Either 5.9 or 6, something like that.
Nice. Yeah, if he's going 6, then yeah, that's a reasonable price. It's a reasonable ownership, and I'm not going to be quite at 20+%, but certainly going to get to Smith as an SP1 with some regularity.
You think you end up with more Castillo or more Hauser?
Ooh,
or a third person, or Smiley. I don't know if you have a third guy in the mix.
Right now, it's probably Castillo.
Okay.
I hope it's Castillo, just because I think it probably will be if Hauser's ownership sticks. Like if he sticks at around this 30% number, then it'll probably be Castillo because I'm using him a ton as an SP1 and still being able to differentiate. So hopefully Castillo. I'm anticipating it being Castillo. If it is Hauser, if Hauser comes down to like 24% or something,
I'd be so happy. I mean, I hope that I soar over 30. He has my highest ownership cap of all pitchers today.
Wow.
Now, I mean, that's like 21%, but that's still 21% over 800 lineups. So he's going to show up in 200. We'll see how that gets sifted down.
Yeah, for sure. Wow. Hauser, man, this guy, why does he keep getting priced at 5K?
I have no idea. I think they forgot about him.
He's been good. And DK's usually pretty quick to react. He's had 3 straight starts, 4 out of 5 good ones, 3 straight good ones, 4 out of 5, 18 plus DK points. The one bad start wasn't even that bad for a $5,000 pitcher. He scored 7 DK points. That's not even going to kill you. So he keeps getting owned super heavily, and they're just not reacting at all. And he keeps finding himself in okay spots on slates where you need a 5K pitcher. So, and got strikeout upside too. It's not like he's freaking Mike Montgomery or Mike Leake.
Yeah. Oh, you named one guy I'll have.
Leake?
I'm going to have more than the 4% that he's owned for sure.
Yeah.
I expect to have probably more than 100% of my exposure go to Michaelis, Leake, Hauser, Brault, and Smiley.
Let's see. I'm probably around that same number. Yeah, I'm going to be around that same number because I'm going to have all of the guys you just mentioned there.
The only thing that I don't really know for sure is how everything will shake out from like Caleb Smith, Samardzija, Stroman, Pineda, Tanaka.
Oh, for me, it doesn't really matter. Like it's Castillo, then all the rest of those guys, and then whoever I get is my SP1 in the non-Castillo lineups, whether it's Pineda, Verlander, whoever. I'm going to be double punting more often than getting to anyone outside of like Smith and Castillo as my SP1.
So that's what I expect, but it wouldn't shock me just given their projections and their values if, like, I got a lot of Pineda earlier today, and I got some Tanaka earlier today, and I don't know if that's going to hold now. It's one of those days, man. It's one of those days. It's going to be a fun sweat.
I don't think I'm going to get to Tanaka.
His K projection massively jumped when that Mariners lineup came out.
Really?
For me, it did. Yeah, I had to
Who's
give it a little tweak.
Who's the high strikeout guys? Is Moore a high strikeout guy? I mean, Vogelbach's going to strike out a bit. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Moore's not low.
Okay. Lopes? I don't check Tim Lopes.
He's relatively average, but Tom Murphy hitting 5th, that's a biggie.
Okay. Murphy the GOAT. Better be careful.
Yeah. He'll triple dong when Randone picks him.
How did you do last night? Like, we were on the show together last night, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're on the show together all week.
Yeah, I think 5 straight for us. So Monday through Friday.
Feels like the good old days. How did I end up yesterday? Just down a hair on DraftKings, just up a hair on FanDuel. Relatively neutral night. As we talked about, I didn't have as much Oakland as everybody else. They kind of went bonkers, but I did have a ton of the Cardinals. So I had enough of the number 2 stack that it was able to like mitigate some of the beating.
Nice.
So I'll take it. I saw you up at the relative top of the mini max.
Yeah, I would have liked to have that lineup as one of my top 50 in the $8.
I'm sure you would.
I think that would have got me pretty decent payday. I think it was like a 5 or 6K score. So I didn't 150 max it. I should have. But I don't know. I didn't know I was going to have a top 1% lineup. So who knows? But yeah, it was good overall. Oakland was massive. I think that Chris Davis, even though he was like my highest owned hitter, I think the dong that he got off Gordon or whoever it was actually hurt me a decent amount.
Really?
So, yeah.
That's never good.
Nah, because he was like doing okay, but a ton of people at the top had him and people behind me, so they passed me up. I had like the Mike Ford dong. I had like the nuts with the Yankees going and Hap in the $8.
Nice.
And a bunch of player innings remaining, and then I woke up and the Yankees ended the game with 5 runs.
I needed them to go a little bit more too last night.
Yeah.
Or at least I assume that I did. I mean, they were my most exposed team, so it stands to reason if it went well for the Yankees, it would have went a little bit better for me. Didn't have nearly enough Ford, and that was clearly the piece you needed the most of.
Dodgers
What'd you say?
Dodgers lineup out.
Nice. Anything interesting?
Muncy, Jock.
Wait, Muncy.
Oh, I'm sorry. Jock Muncy.
Okay, I was like, that's different. They're flip-flopping the leadoff hitter and the number 2 hitter?
Seager, Beatty, Smith, Hernandez.
Oh, so no Turner?
He's suspended, I thought.
I mean, yes, that is the case. He was not suspended on the original posting of a projected lineup for today. But yes, he is suspended.
Why are they appealing it if they were going to sit him today, why is he appealing his suspension?
Is he appealing the suspension?
Yeah.
Then I have no idea. Who's pitching?
I mean,
who do they play today?
Cal Quantrill.
I mean, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Like, why wouldn't?
I don't know.
Like, they could just pay him the money or whatever. I guess you want to appeal because he probably gets that game check or something. I don't know how it works.
Yeah, I don't have the slightest.
That seems weird. I just expected he would be in the lineup because I saw he was going to appeal because the suspension was supposed to start tonight.
Yeah, that's what I saw earlier too.
Yeah, weird.
Right, let's load this Dodgers lineup back in. If you're playing Boston, you better have some lucky pitchers. I don't think they need to be lucky at all. I just need them to perform like they're supposed to. Adrian Hauser should be like $2,500 more expensive than he is.
Yeah. I think if he was 7K today, he still would be probably a high, like one of the highest owned pitchers.
Yeah. The only reason he's not like 60% owned is because there's 15 games.
Yep. So just take advantage.
Yeah.
Like, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't be playing this guy.
I got him at 3.1 points per thousand. He's the only guy north of 3.
You got him at 15, over 15?
Yeah, 15.7.
Nice.
Yeah.
Can't even disagree with it. I mean, Alex has a really favorable projection on him too.
Yeah, it's right in line with my like pitcher boost, basically.
Yeah. All right.
How much Smiley do you end up with? I was getting a lot of Pittsburgh earlier today. I don't know if that's still going to happen now that Smiley's a little bit lower in ownership.
I'm waiting for ownership to see. Before I was at like 20% when he was at 16. So just a carousel of SP2 options today. Everyone gets their turn round and round with all these guys and Luis Castillo. So name a bad pitcher that's cheap tonight, and I very likely have them. Although I wasn't getting to Montgomery.
I was going to say Aaron Brooks is the only guy that I can confidently say is not going to show up in my shit.
I did get to a few shares of Montgomery in my last one.
I mean, he's the literal flat minimum, and he's not that atrocious. And no. I don't know. That's a scary one.
Yeah, he's not bad.
I'm a fan of Oakland tonight more so than I was yesterday.
Oh, I was thinking of Brooks is terrible. I was looking at Montgomery when I was saying he's not bad. Brooks is awful.
Yeah, Brooks is bad.
Montgomery, I don't think is that bad of a pitcher, and I still think he should be in the conversation at 4K, even though I'm playing a ton of Oakland.
How much Uncle Rico?
You're joking, right?
No, not at all. Yes, I'm joking. He should be owned 0%.
He should not be in a single DraftKings lineup tonight.
No.
I don't even know if he's on the slate on FanDuel. He's not.
This does feel a lot like, I feel like Boston gets in these spots where they have like 7.5 run implied totals and they go out there and shit the bed, and the pitcher against them ends up decent, whether it's Woj or they did it last year against somebody garbagey. Boston lays this egg a lot. Now, let me be clear here. They're the best team on the slate and it's not close. There's not another team even remotely in the same likelihood of Boston in terms of going nuts today, but I just feel like they're going to lay a damn egg and I'm going to be aggravated about it.
I'm going down with the ship too.
Oh, yeah. I'm dying with them for sure.
Yeah, they're going to decide a lot for me because I'm going to have them in every sort of combination: 5-mans, 4-mans, 3-mans, one-offs, bets. I'll have Vasquez, like just everyone.
I fully expect them to be my most owned stack on both sites.
I mean, if you look at the top stack tool, that's probably the play anyways.
Yes, it is. They a little bit of value above their ownership.
It's unbelievable.
It's massive number.
You never, ever see that.
I talk about this from time to time, but I have the data here in front of me. So I have the top 7, like if I take the target scores from the highest 7 target scores from the Rockies, they all reach their target score 1 in 3 million times. Like all 7 of them do it. The 1 in 3 million chance. The Red Sox, 1 in 750,000.
Substantial.
Yeah, like they're just, it's a different level. Everybody else is in the millions and 10 million, under a million.
So they're 4 times as likely.
Yeah, just about. And that's, that for the most part, it's corresponding with what we see in the top stack tool, like their gap between, the next closest couple teams. So no, the show is not going to end at 6:45 today. We're not running another fantasy football draft today.
You sure?
We've been running live before lock shows up until lock for 2 years.
Do it one day.
That's just the new normal.
That's our thing now. Yeah.
There's Uncle Rico in premium Slack. Man, I might have to watch Napoleon Dynamite again. It's been a long ass time.
Oh man, I'd probably catch that one. Anytime it's on TV, that's one I'll stop on.
Yeah, that's for me. I don't ever see it because there is no like scrolling of television.
I mean, I rarely am just sitting down mindlessly watching cable TV, but when I am, and
busy posting cheat sheets.
I do post a lot of cheat sheets. Those are up on the site today if anybody wants to take a gander. Let's see. Yeah, they'll be out tomorrow. They'll be out. What's the day after that? Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You'll take them over on Sunday.
I will.
By the
I
way,
feel like you're singing a Craig David song right now, but that's probably not going to be. That's going to be lost on you, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't know who this man is.
There will be people that get that. I don't know, like a popular R&B song while I was a senior in high school or somewhere in that neighborhood. Like 5 people will get it and it'll work.
That's all.
That's all I care about.
Yeah.
Watch it with audio only, Josh. No video. Watch. You want me to watch Napoleon Dynamite without the video? Seems like a really boring thing to do.
Yeah, why would you do that if you have the option?
I have no idea. How much Justin Verlander do you think you end up with?
Like 2%.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
We got a question from Premium Slack. Thoughts on both? Well, thoughts on Hauser and Smiley. I mean, I think Adrian Hauser is the best play on the entire slate.
Hauser projects as the best play. For pitching, value-wise, not as concerned with ownership on Hauser. Not concerned now that Smiley's ownership has gone down. You're paying a higher ownership tax on Hauser, but not to the point where he's like priced out of lineups or anything like that. And Smiley's come down like he should. So I like both guys. I'm going to have a bunch of both guys.
Yeah, all the Craig David comments are coming in now, so that's going really well. Yeah, Hauser's the best play on the day, and honestly, Drew Smiley might be second.
From a value perspective, it's close.
Yeah. Castillo's the best at the top for me, but Hauser and Smiley are on a completely different wavelength.
We just got ownership.
That never makes me feel good to say out loud. That Smiley part is gross.
Yeah, you just got to jam in Drew Smiley.
Rangers lineup is in.
Ooh, all right. McCod posted the ownerships if you hadn't seen them. Hauser's come up. Smiley has come up a little bit, I believe. So who fell? Rangers is out too?
Yeah.
All right. So we should be getting a rankings projections update here in a minute. The last two lineups don't matter to me that much. So I could plausibly start. It's already, wow. We've already been doing this for 25 minutes.
I told you, man. This thing's going to fly. It's going to be 7:05 in no time.
Yeah,
Coming up after this, 8 p.m. Eastern, PGA show. Ben Rasa, Jason Roslin talking European Masters. Best I could do.
I believe it's like Omega European Masters.
Yeah, the second part of it is definitely European Masters.
The only reason I know that is because I edit the articles. So
Gotcha.
I see all the names.
Only reason I know that is because I posted that article.
Whoa. Okay, McCod says Caleb Smith basically cut in half.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense to me. I haven't really understood his ownership all day. He's not a guy that normally gets ownership. So that makes me, not that I'm happy about it, but it makes sense to me more than just about anything else.
Where's this Hilliard clown?
The guy from DK? Or the guy from Colorado?
Yeah, on DraftKings. Let's see where he's at.
I assume he's one of the chalkiest hitters.
He's not in there.
Then there's probably a reason for that.
No, he's on the slate.
Oh, that I know. What I mean is like it's not that he's not there. You know, it's so Tom, if you're listening, or Eddie, if you're Eddie, you're definitely not listening. He's probably not out of the player pool yet, if I had to guess. Zach or Manny, if you're listening. Dave, if you're listening.
I'm sure none of those people are listening, but also
Zach could be listening.
Possibly. Let's see. He's in the pool, I swear. Yeah,
no,
I saw.
I agree that he's in the pool. What I'm saying is that I doubt he's in. Is he in the Fantasy Cruncher pool?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well then, shit. I don't know.
He's been in there for like 40 minutes.
Oh, well then, ignore everything I just said.
Yeah, because I remember seeing him lit up in pretty light green on the My Projections section when I pop him in there.
I think I might start a crunch right after we make dong picks and just see where it takes me.
Well, yeah, you gotta start. It's moving slow today.
Yeah, I know. Speaking of, time for dong picks. Jake, you didn't get one yesterday, but spoiler alert, I did. And so did your boy, Emac. You guys are tied now.
That's fine.
Emac and Jake both at 29 dongs, 26 correct picks. You have made 5 less picks. So right now, you are still the leader based on tiebreakers. Enjoy your spot at the top. I am in third at 25. I'm in spitting distance. I have the second highest pick rate, 23.5. I'm 3 dongs clear of Spags. I'd really like to put 1 or 2 more in the books before he gets back to really dig the old knife in. Randone at 8 dongs, 17.6%. Basically, all I'm doing is rooting for myself to catch you guys, at least in pick rate, and rooting for Randone to catch Spags. And you know what? I think we're all rooting for that.
Would be quite the Cinderella story.
I'd be so happy. Yeah, Chris, I said it.
He's not watching either.
I hope not. He's eating gumbo or some shit in Vegas.
Is that where he's at? He's in Vegas?
Instagram. Maybe?
Oh, I don't follow Chris on Instagram. I'm sure he's got some spicy takes over there, though.
Less than you'd think.
Really?
Yeah. Relatively tame Instagram account.
All right.
So the floor is yours. You're still the leader in the clubhouse. Dong picks are up for you, sir. What would you like to do with your dongs today?
Putting all my dongs in the... Give me Matt Chapman. I don't think I've ever picked him before.
Can't wait to search for it and be like, you've picked Matt Chapman 4 times this year.
I can't remember a time I've picked him. Maybe once. Tom, if you could add Sam Hilliard, the Rockies 7-hitter.
Oh, maybe that's who I was thinking of. Oh, wait, you're still saying that again, right? Dude, it's a bad day for me. Ooh,
no,
wow, that's an interesting prop.
Addressing Tom because he asked in chat, who do I need to add?
Oh, gotcha. Alrighty. So, Matt Chapman. Chapman is 47th in the model today.
Well, pretty low.
I mean, it's a big slate. I don't mind the pick. I'm going to go to something a little bit different. Same name. Different team. Sorry, EMAC. Don't mean to do this to you. Matt Adams.
Yeah, there you go.
I assume EMAC already has it typed in, so he's probably aggravated.
He's probably just waiting to hit send.
Matt Adams is 16th in my or 12th in my model, rather. Naming issue, Samuel Sam. Got it.
Oh.
Yeah. He is Samuel at a place that we don't need to talk about. Matt Chapman is in for Jake. Have you searched to see if you've taken Chapman?
No, I don't have it pulled up.
You have taken him once, and that would be today. So, no, you've never taken him.
Well, there you go. I feel like I just cycle in the same guys, Munson, Bellinger, Dodgers, Yankees, just like filter through all those guys.
I've taken Chapman twice. Spags took him once.
Anybody have a dong with them yet?
No.
Well, there you go. Not until today. T. McBee's got him in 12th in his model. EMAC said,
I don't know who Luis Soto is, but I'm forcing EMAC to take that guy. He clearly means Juan Soto.
Oh.
I am putting him down as Luis Soto, and he will get 0 dongs when Juan Soto picks until he corrects his mistake. And I hope he's not listening.
What if Luis is like his real name and like Juan's his middle name?
I mean, he probably has like 65 names if I had to guess.
Luis? Juan? Doubtful. He's in the 4-letter name crew though. So
Juan Jose Soto.
Juan Soto. Jake Hari. So he's got it going on there.
Luis Soto in for EMAC. The non-real baseball player for today. Highest Rays hitter in my home run model is
shaken.
Austin Meadows.
Rays?
I mean, EMAC runs so good in this that for sure Soto's double donging now.
There'd be like a pinch hitter named Luis Soto for the Tigers that just got called up and he donged.
Yeah. All right. So we have 2 lineups left to go. No, we have 1 lineup left to go. Padres lineup is in. All we're waiting for is the Yanks, who have 2 questionable guys today. Great. Like, they're so good about putting their lineups in anyway. And it's the Yankees against Yusei Kikuchi, so they're clearly in play.
Yeah. They're definitely relevant to the slate. Like, they're not a complete write-off. Like, I think San Diego was for me, so. I don't know. I'm probably just going to start. What about you?
I'm going to enter this Padres lineup in and let it rip.
Right, cool.
It's easy to late swap one team.
Yeah, I suppose. If it's only a couple of players.
I've got late swap optimizer down pat.
I do not. I can't not figure it out for baseball or hockey. So I just do some nifty Excel work or try to.
I'll give you the lesson for the last month. Like, not kidding around, I can get in and out in like a couple minutes and have everything exactly how I want it.
With how many teams? Like, with one team missing?
I could do 2 or 3. You kind of have to make a little plan before you start. Make sure you write down who's in and who's out. But you got to run all your crunches based on individual spots. So, like, I make sure that I keep all of my ownership caps, but I will bump the teams that I need to change and just set everybody to like 80% or something like that to make sure that that doesn't slow me down. And then you just pick a guy that's in the most amount of your lineup. So, like, let's say Didi Gregorius is out and I have him in 30 lineups. I will filter to only the 30 lineups that Didi Gregorius is in, and I will re-crunch based on those new settings. But I'll set my team caps to be like 1%. So it'll basically just kick out every lineup, and I'll manually make all the changes by just clicking the squirrely little like circle thing next to people's names. Sometimes it'll just correct everybody, but generally speaking, it'll just let me handle it. And it's way easier to do it using Fantasy Cruncher's like front end, because you have all the players that can fit in every spot everywhere. You can easily just swap really quickly. I can do it all in like 5 to 10 minutes. It's perfect.
I mean, it sounds amazing. I just haven't had to late swap. I'm usually around after lock, unless I'm watching Bachelor in Paradise. If you guys want to check.
Big day tomorrow, I guess, right? Or is it tonight?
It's tonight. Yeah. It's Chris Randone's wedding. Will be aired tonight on Bachelor in Paradise on ABC. Go check it out.
Yeah.
I'll be watching.
I told him so. He was supposed to be on the show tonight, but had to get off of the show because he had to change some filming for ABC today. So I told him that he needed to wear a Sorry Josh shirt in his filming today to make up for it.
He should.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. No. Sorry, Jake.
No, sorry, Josh. I wanted to hang out with him tonight.
Oh, okay. I see. Fair enough.
All right, I'm loading in my stuff. Let's talk stacks. Is there any scenario where the Red Sox aren't your top stack?
Yeah, if their ownership jumps up by like 10% each, but not very likely occurrence.
As of right now, you would expect the Red Sox to be your top stack?
Yep.
Okay.
By a good margin. Ownership updated. Nice.
Excellent.
Let's see where Hilliard's at. Because he's probably going to be one of my highest on hitters. Oh, okay. Not bad.
DraftKings Crunch in, and by in I mean started, not like in. So are there 2 guys on FanDuel that aren't available today? Or is it more than that? Seth Brown, Hilliard, and Rico Garcia? Is that right?
Rico's not available. Seth Brown. I mean, clearly not a guy I was getting to.
No Seth Brown.
Actually, I am going to get to him on DraftKings if he's on Oakland.
And then Hilliard not on FanDuel either. So 3 guys not available on FanDuel today that are actually legitimate players for today.
Nice.
Which isn't surprising. I mean, FanDuel doesn't have the monstrous player pool in their CSVs like DraftKings and Yahoo do.
Why? I don't understand why they don't, though.
I don't know. You can just put everybody at 2K.
Yeah. Well, FanDuel has a history of doing that to studs back in the day. like when they were coming off injury, they just wouldn't price them up.
Okay, so we know that Red Sox are tops. Yeah, I agree with Jordan. Almost 1,000 people watching and 200 likes. Come on, people. Yeah, hit the like button, guys. Very helpful for us. We would really appreciate it. And subscribe to the channel. After the Red Sox, who's number 2 for you?
It's probably going to be Oakland against Mike Montgomery. So I wish Montgomery was going to be higher owned, so maybe get a little bit of extra leverage. But even without that, they have a over 6 implied total here. They hit lefties really well, and you see why when you run down all these guys in the lineup: Semien, Chapman, Kana, Davis, Pinder, Profar. He's not great, but he's at the end of this order, he's priced appropriately at second base. So I love the price, and I'm just surprised they're not getting as much ownership, especially coming off last night where they scored like 80 runs.
Yeah. I really do feel like I'm getting there a day late.
Oh, because you weren't there last night. Yeah, I feel the opposite. I'm like, man, why doesn't anybody want to fire these guys up again?
Yeah, I am firing them up again. Not happy that I wasn't there yesterday. I am happy that I will be here today, but I just see the 3-run game here.
Certainly could, but
I'm not happy about it.
I mean, there's just so many spots. We say it all the time on a 15-game slate, and I just don't understand why a team that's priced like this isn't getting more ownership across the board.
Agreed.
So
they've got the run total. They have a pedigree of like home run hitting hitters.
Good matchup.
Yeah, it's really good. Look, I'm glad, but I'm going to have serious case of I should have did this yesterday.
Can't have FOMO.
What do you think of your Minnesota Jakes today? Tough spot. Alex mentioned them. I think they're better than their ownership shows, but they're obviously in a really tough matchup. Do you think you'll get to any?
The only hitter I was getting to was like a couple Rosario one-offs. It's just really tough to take a good team, but against a really good pitcher that just shut them down. And they've got one of the lower implied totals they've had probably for the season tonight. And it's not like you're getting a huge discount on them either. So I agree they're probably better without looking at the top stack. I'll pull it up. I'm guessing they're undervalued. Yeah. But like a very low chance of being the top value, low ownership share, but also a low top stack percentage, like around average, it looks like. So
I was getting to a lot of Pirates earlier. I expect that to happen again just because of Smiley's ownership. They were the highest ranked team that I had against a pitcher that was getting some love. Are you going to try to hedge against any of that Smiley ownership?
Yeah, I do have. They're coming up organically without a ton of leverage being added into my ranking system here. Smiley's just a guy who he'll give up power. Got Newman, Reynolds up there. I think there's 2 good prices for them, at least on DraftKings, plus the added leverage off now a 20% owned pitcher. I think 1 through 5 looks pretty good to me. Throw in a 3K catcher as well, and I like getting to them as a full stack too.
Yeah, I'm going to have way more than that 3% that is shown. I might have to dial it back a little bit, but if I can get to like the 10 to 12% range on some of these guys, like the actual talent, the Marte, Bell, Ozuna section, I'll be cool with that. And then, Newman, I'll take just about anybody that hits first and second. All right, first 300 on DK are done. So, good start there. This one's going to be, this is going to take the full amount of time. Whoa. Kansas City Royals owner David Glass is negotiating the sale of the team to Cleveland Indians minority owner John Sherman for over $1 billion. I can't hear you.
I said that's all they're worth, $1 billion?
Well, 1, it's baseball, so who cares? But 2, I don't know if it's the full team. I didn't look at the rest of the article. Could be like 40% or something.
Well,
Enough
no,
to
if
be
you're talking about a sale, then he loses the team then.
Yeah, but I don't know how much he owns. You could own 51% of the team.
Yeah, so there's going to be a new majority owner, is what it sounds like.
Right. But like if he owns half of the team, then maybe the value of the team is $2 billion. Or if it's over $1 billion, maybe the value of the team is 2.2. He's paying 1.1 for 50.
Yeah, you might be right.
But again, I mean, the baseball team. No value in that. It's not like getting in on the NBA.
Still a pretty good payday.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind being that Royals owner.
The TV money is outrageous. Like, do you know anyone who watches baseball religiously that doesn't play DFS?
Yes.
Like your dad or something? Like,
I mean, I got a buddy that watches the Yankees nonstop that doesn't play any daily.
Doesn't play daily, doesn't gamble.
I mean, he plays like season long.
Man. Like, I just don't know a lot of people that do that.
No.
But that are my age, at least, or close to it.
Yeah. Get a GoFundMe page to try to buy the Indians or the Royals, rather. Be good.
Yeah, with just $1 billion, is that all?
Yeah. I'd love to know how high we could get it.
We wouldn't.
No, not even close. Did you see the tweet of the dongs?
Yeah, the guy who said 1 through 6.
No, our tweet.
No.
They listed it as Luis Soto with like Juan ? In it. Good job, Brett. Or Ridpack. I don't know who did it.
Whoever did that. That's awesome.
It's good stuff. All right, now the DraftKings crunch is cruising a little bit now that I don't have the full stack, but I'm about to switch to 4-4, so it's going to grind to a halt.
Yep, I'm doing the same thing right now. What do we got? 18 minutes left? We're okay.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, I can cut it off whenever I need to. I don't want to, but I have enough generated that like I'm not dead in the water.
Yeah.
It's not the full spread that I would like, but I'm really excited to see how much Hauser I get. I want like 45 plus. That, and I'm really excited to see how much Heaney I get on FanDuel.
I just don't think I'm going to get to a ton of I don't think I'm going to get a lot overweight on Hauser looking at his ownership right now, just because it's the more and more he's owned, the less and less of an edge you're getting of playing a guy that projects really well. So,
I mean, I thought about lock buttoning him.
Lock buttoning? You don't do that. You don't lock button anyone. Josh Engelman.
What's the worst case scenario if Adrian Hauser is in all of your lineups?
It's not necessary.
It might just be.
It is not necessary to lock button any player. I've done a complete 180 on this. Like a year and a half ago, I probably would have said, yeah, just lock button him. Yeah, well, what's going to happen?
I'm not saying his performance is a lock, but on this particular slate, I'm more confident in him at the bottom than anything else. And I think I would rather push my chips to the center like that.
Well, yeah, if he was like 10% owned and Smiley was 20 and Montgomery was 12, then sure. But you got a ranking system for a reason. You got projections for a reason. You don't need to get cute like that.
I don't think it's getting cute. How much? All right, here's the question for you. Let's put it out there. How much Adrian Hauser do you think Alex ends up with tonight?
Probably
in whatever like the normal one, like the 8 to 12, whatever that tournament is.
Yeah, probably like 50, 60%, somewhere in there.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's north of that.
I would be, just because there's so many options and he's creeping up in ownership. When he was like 5%, Alex had 68 or whatever.
Yeah, I mean that's if he were at 5% right now, I really might think about having him in everything.
Yeah, then sure. That was just when Alex had he just thought the chalk was wrong. When on nights where he thinks the chalk is right, or close to being correct on a lot of these pitchers, his ownerships a lot of time mimic the pitching ownership, or like he'll fade a guy or two, but that's just because they don't project as well.
Right.
So like for me, I think the ownership is pretty accurate. Sure, you could argue that Hauser's a little bit under-owned, but you're not getting that big of an edge by just playing him at 33% here. Just got ownership, by the way.
Bingo. And do you think we get the Yankees lineup in the next 15 minutes?
Yeah.
Agreed.
They've
Hauser
been,
at 33, Castillo 26, Sam Hilliard 23.
that's kind of low for Hilliard, honestly, on this slate.
Yeah. Yeah, he makes things work real well for the Rockies now.
Especially if he's like a good player too. It's not just some scrub that they're.
I think he's probably a better DFS player than he is a real player.
Well, they said he can steal possibly too.
Like I said, I think he's a better DFS player than he is a real player.
Yeah, I mean, the fact of the matter is he's 2,700, batting 7th in Coors.
He was the 16th ranked Rockies prospect this year, and he's 25 years old. So we're not getting any sort of like gem that's coming up. He's got some like legit raw power. He can't hit worth shit, and he's like an average runner.
Fair enough. Good enough for 2,700.
Yeah, look, that'll like it's really hard to look at his numbers in AAA because I'm pretty sure Colorado's AAA park is like just like playing in Coors.
Is it?
I'm almost positive that they're in the PCL with some sort of like really stupid high park factor park. Don't quote me on that. I don't totally remember, but if I'm going off of memory, I think that I'm right.
I'll trust you.
I think they play in Colorado Springs. I could be wrong. Rockies AAA. Ooh, maybe they're in Albuquerque now. They used to be in Colorado Springs. So now I don't know what I'm talking about, but yeah. So they've been in Albuquerque for 4 years. AAA park factors. Does this really exist? In 2016, Albuquerque increased home runs by 36%. Yeah. Yeah, Albuquerque is higher than Denver.
Do you know what I just did?
No.
I just had a little bit of a mini panic there. I entered in on accident. I was clicking around and I switched tabs to DraftKings and I had my lineup pulled up like I showed you that one time.
Uh-huh.
It wasn't on the bulk enter. It was just on like enter here for so X amount of dollars. It was like an $800 4-man. And I want to go back and look and see. I was the third entry out of fourth. When I did. I'm not going to be able to unreg this. And let's see who it would have been against. I'm guessing it's like Empire Maker, Dandy Don, and
So I accidentally entered everything that I possibly could that I had in my DraftKings account this morning in the $111 contest before I realized that it wasn't the Minimax. I had to unregister all of those this morning. So oddly enough, we both did a similar thing today.
well, I didn't. Like, I'm pretty sure you can after like 15 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, this all happened at like 7 o'clock in the morning. So
I would have just emailed DraftKings and been like, hey, I never play this. Like,
oh yeah, I know that I could have got out of it immediately if I needed to.
yeah.
I'm like, yeah, take a look at this. I done messed up.
It was Dandy Don, so love bases, one of the best players.
Yep.
And my NHL buddy, Slewfoot. Those were the two players. And then I'm sure some shark would have scooped me. So they probably would have just split the equity between the three of them and been like, let's take this fish down.
Let's get that Osimo fish.
Yeah.
How's your crunch looking?
It's coming along. Let's see. FanDuel, I'm at a spot where I can stop. What, we got 10 minutes left?
Yeah, we got some time. I'm up to 650 on DK. I've got 550 on FanDuel. I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah, I'm going to run some 4-3s now really quick on DK and then some 5 nakeds. And then we'll
I already have 5 nakeds done. I just have 4 threes right now, and that's it for me.
Okay. I should do my 5 nakeds
Actually,
earlier.
3 had 550. Now I should be running 5 threes. I just started running more 4-4s. I should be running my 4 threes now. I'm gonna give it like 2 more minutes, whatever comes out, and then gonna close this off.
Jake likes the Padres. Where are we getting this? I haven't even talked about the Padres.
Does anybody like the Padres?
Why would you like the Padres? against Bueller.
The Padres are my second worst team. I assume I won't have a single share of anyone on there anywhere. Although if you told me I got like a share of Machado or something, I'd at least think that that's normal.
Well, sure, but why is it Jake likes the Padres?
I don't know. Jake likes the Padres. That's what I heard too, man.
Yeah.
Rumor has it.
You can just cut this up when the Padres go nuts tonight. But
JuicyRumors.com.
is that a site? Sounds like one I don't want to go to.
No, this is the old joke with friends from home.
Another reference I don't get. Classic.
I mean, there's not a single soul, unless Warren Heil is in our YouTube chat right now. No one else is going to ever get it. So,
what pitcher in a single lineup on FanDuel?
I mean, for me, it's probably Heaney.
For me, it's probably Heaney or Smith. I think I would go with Smith. So there you go. Narrowed it down to 2 for you.
Yeah. There you go. We have 9 minutes until lock.
Oh, we're rolling.
I don't know about rolling. I'm not exactly where I want to be right now. I mean, we started this pretty early. Like, it's 15 gamers are not awesome.
No, they're not. Well, why is Justin Turner in here? Okay, that's not great.
Have you been crunching with Justin Turner in?
On FanDuel.
Yeah.
But I have more than enough plausible lineups. So,
I mean, he's an easy swap, too. I assume he's more expensive than whoever came in.
yeah, on FanDuel, I don't play as much over there. So my ranking system isn't as sophisticated.
Gotcha.
On DraftKings, I make sure I'm getting expensive pitchers, make sure I'm getting cheap, like different sort of lineup constructions. On FanDuel, I think it's just lineup construction is easier because I basically only run 4-4 and 4-3, and it's just whichever pitcher hits or fits after I get in my hitters.
All right, I am cutting this crunch off for DraftKings when it hits 720. I'm at 714, so. Oh, man. Highest. Can you guess the 2 highest exposed people of everybody for me on DK? Pitchers and hitters combined.
Pitchers and hitters combined?
Yeah, it's like just the normal list of exposures. Who's 1 and who's 2?
One is Bet.
He's tied for second, but he's not the second name. He's third.
Hauser.
Hauser is 1.
Okay. And then Hauser bets. Is it this is it DraftKings you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
DraftKings. It's Sam Hilliard.
Drew Smiley.
Oh man.
I've got all the Smiley. I've got all the Hauser today.
It's gonna be fun. I didn't enter the $11 today, so
nothing.
You can feel free to congratulate me on my mini max win.
Congrats on saving that money.
I think it is. I was looking at it and I was like, should I do this? Got pretty close last night. What are the odds I get there again? And that's something, by the way, don't ever do that if you're watching this. Like, don't just pick to enter random stuff.
I got 53% Hauser right now.
It's a good number.
I'm not mad about it.
No. He's the best option. I agree. Just a ownership thing. I wonder if we're going to get one more update. We got one exactly 15 minutes before lock. We should be good.
I probably need to cut off FanDuel now. There we go. I'm not confident I get both of these things in at 7:05.
Well, did you put in night slate players?
Oh, yeah. Like my dummy is fine, but I'd still rather not run the dummy.
Yeah, it's always nice.
Just making tweaks is kind of difficult right now, so it's just I'm pretty bogged down.
Speaking of night slate, we do have a pretty good one going tonight. I think it's 4 games on DraftKings. I'll be playing that for sure. Using the ownership projections on the site. Those are already updated. I'm sure they'll get updated once more before that locks. I think it's 9:40 Eastern. You been playing any night slates at all, Josh?
Not at all.
It's too bad. You go to bed too early for us.
I don't disagree there. Oh my god, my exposures are so different than they were earlier today.
Did you lie to the people for the first hour?
Probably, like I normally do. All right, I've got some Phillies. I don't have nearly as much Pirates. I got to the Braves now, which I don't want. Barely have the stupid Nats. Oh my god.
All right, I'm loading in my DK once to this ranking system right now. Let's see what I got. Oh. So when I just use regular projections, I'm getting a ton of Castillo, as I would expect.
Well, whatever I have right now is going in for DraftKings. I cannot hold out any longer. And turns out the Braves are a team that I have a lot of. Don't know how that's happening.
That's not... Yeah, I mean, they're one of the teams that's pretty over-owned, I think, on DraftKings, right?
They are on FanDuel.
Okay. Is it bogged down in like one or two players, or are you?
I don't have time to check.
All right.
I'm dead in the water right now, I think.
All right. Let's see here.
I hate 15-game slates, man. We honestly should cut this stream off at 6:45 on these slates.
Well, I don't think it would even matter if we did.
It would matter to me because I wouldn't have to think about talking right now.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, we can just talk about...
I have my DraftKings lineups in. FanDuel's going to go in. Yankees lineup is out, but I could care less right now.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get lineups that are lineups I want to play.
Yeah.
All right,
I will get FanDuel lineups in. They might be oddly extreme.
Like how extreme we talking here?
Oh, I mean, like whatever just shows up, you know?
Like we're getting Steven Brault as like your highest owned pitcher type of thing? Or?
No. I mean, they're not going to be wrong. They're just going to be excessively aggressive.
All right, let's take that out.
Okay, lots of Red Sox, lots of Rockies, lots of A's, lots of Phillies. Okay, so everything is better on FanDuel. I'm not even adjusting it. I'm just taking it. More than okay with my FanDuel lineups. Not going to have time to adjust that DK stuff one last time, I don't think, but...
Yeah, I'm playing with fire right now.
Oh, yeah?
Caleb Smith, my highest owned pitcher, then Hauser, both at the exact same. Then Castillo, all between 27 and 28%. Then it's Smiley, Brault, Montgomery, yikes, Miles Michaelis, then Leak. All guys I have 16% or more of. So that's going to go in. Very glad I did not try to get cute with my entries today because not feeling spectacular about this right now.
Now I'm really not feeling spectacular. I just had an error on the upload for FanDuel.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Let's try to correct that problem as quick as possible. I thought I was going to get back to like being able to tweak DraftKings once. Not the case at all.
Ooh, I got a couple invalid. No, never mind. Good there. Okay, so it looks like, yeah, I'm going to get a lot of Hauser.
All right, I got my stuff in. I hate my DraftKings lineups. I love my FanDuel lineups. Exact opposite of what I expected. Rutrow, what the funk is that? Why is this? Oh, there's no way this is going to get in.
You got 10 seconds here.
I have no shot. I didn't paste all of my lineups in.
Oh, God. This has got to be very entertaining for the people watching. Yeah, Yankees lineup in. I didn't even see what it was. It was Gregorius and Maben. Are they in the lineup? They are not in the lineup. Essentially the same one as last night, at least that I'm looking at.
Yeah, I ran the dummy in like 200 lineups, so that's fine. Get me out of here. So final exposures. 57% Hauser on DK, 23% Smiley, 14 Leak, 10 Michaelis, 5 Brault. So 109% there. 25% to Castillo. Nothing else really that interesting. On FanDuel, most exposed pitcher, Andrew Heaney, 35%. Top stacks, Red Sox, Rockies, Yankees, Braves, A's, and Phillies.
All right. Top stacks, DraftKings for me. Boston by a long shot, then Oakland, then Washington came up quite a bit, which I'm not disappointed to see. Looks like some Colorado stacks snuck in there. And then I got to some Yankees, so I'm going to have to take out Gregorius. Should probably just do that right now. But
I have the Yankees are one of my most owned stacks. So let's get off of here so that I can fix all this garbage.
Me too.
Guys, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Live Before Lock PGA edition. It's not a lock because lock's not till Thursday, but they are going tonight in 54 minutes. So come check it out. Ben Ross and Jason Roslin. Jake, anything else?
Use those night slate ownerships. I'll be using those tonight. So be sure to check that out. And thanks for watching.
There you go, guys. Adios.